All right, Aries, welcome into your monthly reading. This is for February. A few things. While I was shuffling, I was, I kind of get into the, state of connection and, I'm focusing on the month that we're doing the reading, but I kept getting October. So I feel like that's important for you, Aries. There's something that's going to happen in October of this year that's important or impactful. Then I was shuffling the tarot cards and the Wheel of Fortune flew out. And then I saw the Four of Wands. So it's definitely something that is shifting in regards to our relationship, your relationship sphere, or I was getting for some of you like a living situation. It could be a move or something changing there. And it is kind of just divine timing for something to happen in October for you guys. So that had to come out. So I wanted to let you guys know right away. So welcome in. So as you all know, Aries, when I'm reading, I am picking up on this now moment, right? I've kind of been explaining more and more since December around what it means to read or intuit or channel. But in general, our whole entire experience in this 3D reality is all about this right now moment. And you probably know that, but I'm really pushing that more because this is getting more and more important for us to really understand how this reality works. And all we have of this is this moment, okay? Really, there is no past, there is no future. Nothing is set in stone for the future. We have multiple timelines that we can shift based on our action in the next moment that will potentially change our timelines. So when we're using tarot or doing readings or whatever if you're doing a psychic reading or whatever, it's literally reading your energy in this now moment based on what you're vibrating at, based on your belief systems, based on what they're picking up in your body. And that is literally all you can hold on to is this now moment. So whatever the information we're getting in this reading is for you in this now moment. It is not set in stone. It is not 100%. So you can walk away and completely change everything. You can change a little bit of it and it will completely shift. So this is just to use as a tool. Really, in my perspective, is for awareness, to expand our awareness, to get a better understanding about ourselves and our life, so that we can align more with what it is we really want and who we really are. So I'm going to, for February here, we are on the second month in 2026. What did I tell you guys? It's the chaos and conflict in the external world is going to continue. It definitely has in January. Again, it's more important that we understand to not get pulled into those storylines, those belief systems, that matrix, right? So even though we can perceive it, it doesn't mean that it has to impact us. And it's very imperative right now as well that this year, we are literally shifting into this new concept of the new earth, new reality. And we're creating that, all of us. So, and you're creating whatever that reality looks like for you. So we're sitting at every now moment at multiple timelines that we can take. So we got to keep focusing on growing, expanding, increasing our vibration, and whatever that means. And how do you do that, you ask? Well, for one, look at the belief systems you have. Are they serving you? And that's kind of a trick question because obviously all of our belief systems we hold on to because we feel like they're serving us in some way. They're serving us in a way that the alternative is worse than holding on to the current. So if we're living in a vibration or a situation that we don't like, that is challenging or that doesn't align with what we want or who we are, It's usually because we have a belief system that is shifting how we outwardly act, our outward action in life. And those decisions, those actions, those ideas are really creating a reality that, again, pulls us down or creates more challenging situations, or just things that we don't, there's something we'd rather prefer to. So the first thing is you need to really be radically honest with yourself, really looking at yourself, taking full accountability, no matter what happened that created that belief, to be honest with yourself of why am I holding on to this? So, again, why do I keep holding on to a relationship that I'm not happy or fulfilled, that doesn't meet my needs? Why are you holding on to it? And being completely honest. So it could be, hey, it serves me because it's secure. Let's say money-wise, right? This person makes more money than me. They pay the mortgage. I have a comfortable life. Then I don't have to go out and independently, support myself. So you could be honest and say, that's why I stay here, but it isn't my happiness. It isn't my excitement. It isn't my ultimate passion. And then, because what's the alternative, right? The alternative is you leave the relationship, which obviously for you, that decision seems harder or not as good as just staying in the situation. That's just an example. But if you're going to stay in that belief and stay in that situation, you're just going to perpetuate and hold yourself back. And it is true, making those decisions to follow our highest alignment, there may be a hurdle, there may be a bridge there that may be a little difficult, or I have to figure it out. To get on the other side of it, where you're again in a comfortable, secure situation, hopefully that you're able to build for yourself, and you're not again choosing people, places, things out of necessity or not feeling secure or fear. But you're now picking decisions or relationships or environments that align with who you really are. So just want to call that out. And then after that, secondly, you need to continuously follow in the now moments your highest excitement, your highest passion, what your soul is yearning or calling you to do. You need to follow those little things, follow the synchronicities, no matter how small or how big they are. And those are the two main things. And then you just trust. You surrender, you trust, you enjoy what your passion or your excitement is calling you to do while you're doing it. You just be in the moment and thoroughly enjoy it. Be conscious, be connected in that moment. And then the third piece is just letting go of expectation. And that can be really hard for people because a lot of times we're fueled by, let's say, money or wanting something or wanting to get from here to there, or like I'm, trying to set up a business and sell my paintings because I want to make money. But really it should be more about my excitement is painting, right? My soul loves to paint. So you obviously can say, well, I want to align this to be my career, where I'm actually able to do this all the time, full time, and make a living off of it. And that's okay. But don't have it that you're just, pushing yourself to paint or pushing yourself to set this business up with this root of always thinking of money, 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 or needing, I need. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull an Animal Allies Birds Oracle card for your month, Aries. What is the symbol for you this month? So you got the Raven. So let's see here. So the Raven's wisdom. Not all mysteries are scary or unsettling. Sometimes the most powerful gifts come to us through visions and prophetic nudges. Only the recipient can decipher what's been dropped at their feet. When Raven appears, keep your inner eye open for signs, symbols, and messages. Expect the unexpected. Raven wants you to know it's a good time to consider any new revelations or different thoughts knocking around your mind as an open invitation to conspire with mystical opportunities. Don't focus on the how, but rather stay open to the now. Oh my gosh, is this not crazy? Look at what I just said. And the synchronicity is the Raven appears and says the same thing. It's not about the how, or it's more about the why and the being in the now. And, we can't keep forcing ourselves to do things that we're not aligning with in the now moment. Yes, that's how we've been programmed. That's the rules of what we've been taught to this physical reality is we have to, those are the things that are life. Maybe you lived or grew up in an environment where it was like, you know what, some religions say, desire is evil, or just following your passion and excitement is frivolous. And that's totally the opposite. And those have been the rules and the programs that have completely disconnected us from who we really are, from source. And that is why we are not living our highest reality, our highest dream. That is the reason why we are not. And now we're learning that the opposite is true. And so the Raven is giving you messages here. The Raven has always been considered a very mystical kind of animal that's connected with the divine, that speaks, the divine speaks through the Raven. I mean, the divine speaks through all birds, but the Raven has been a symbol of that. So really interesting. And now I'm going to pull a couple oracle cards for the month. So we have the 7th chakra. All right, same thing. We're getting activated here. There is something about getting information, right? And like activating our knowingness, our truth. We have the Garden and the Gate and the Angel of Strength. So there is something that you have been keeping yourself stuck in. So again, exactly what I said. There was a reason I had to say it, because you have kind of closed yourself off to expanding. You've closed yourself off and stayed somewhere because of, again, safety, security, fear. And this Angel of Strength, this is about finding the courage, the divine courage, because you are also supported with an angelic group or divine beings that have your back right now. So you are protected, and you have the courage and strength to in yourself. You have the power in yourself, instead of relying on the external world. And I just want to read this 7th chakra card for you. And this is a 41 card, which for me personally, 41 is a major number. So not that it means anything for you, but for me, it's a sign that just says this is really important. So this is Archangel Uriel, also called the Fire of God. This crown at the top, this crystal crown, is a vibrating with passionate connection to the divine. So this brings great power to your 7th energy center, the crown chakra, and this indicates an open and free-flowing channel of information and inspiration from the wonderful beings in the spirit world. This could be a time of great intuition for you and guidance from your higher self. So this is a time to allow yourself to quiet your mind and listen and get connected. So yes, I feel like you are opening up. There's a lot of information coming in for you, and listen and take action on it when the synchronicities appear. Because, this Garden in the Gate, right? She's in this garden, but she's locked herself in the garden. And even though, the garden is pretty and it's comfortable and it's fine, it after a while, right, being stuck in one location gets to be a little, you feel closed off, you feel claustrophobic, you're ready to expand, you want change. And she's looking outside of the gate and wondering what's out there. But her fear keeps her there. The gate she can go ahead and open. And that's where I think that perspective is, maybe you feel like you don't know how or don't think you can make a change or get out of a situation, but you can. And that's why this angel of strength appeared. All right, so we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles. Or sorry, Cups. So this is referring to a relationship to me. I do feel like you have been holding on to this. That Four of Pentacles is the same message. So this is interesting here, Aries. I kind of feel like, Aries, you have for some time I've gotten a lot of the same messages for you. And Aries, you have the free will to do whatever you want, but this message keeps coming up for you. And there has to be this is going to be a year for you, if this resonates, of major, I do feel like you have to go through some major spiritual enlightenment here, which I think is already kicking in. But there's a lot of confusion here. I think you have a lot of confusion about what you really want. And it's really, the only way you're going to figure that out is internally, right? You can't look to the external world to tell you. You can't look to other people to tell you. It's about really getting connected with your higher self, your inner world, and really feeling this out. So you have the Lovers, the Nine of Swords, and the Page of Wands. I got stuck there. And look at that, the Tower. The Tower, the Two of Wands, and another two here. So there is a lot of blockage here, Aries. But the Two of Wands is blockages, but it's also about, again, going inward, right? You have the Moon symbol. This is about your unconscious, what's going on in your emotional body. I do feel like you're kind of thinking through some decisions here because you have the two decision cards. But there's a Tower moment here, which to me kind of is this Tower moment that it's like you have to make a decision, or you finally figure out what decision you're going to make. In the harder you're reading, you have the Nine of Swords, which is about worry. You definitely have you're overthinking this. You have a lot of anxiety. But to be honest, I feel like a lot of your anxiety comes from your situation you're in. Because a lot of anxiety comes in when we keep ourselves in situations that are not aligned with our soul. And our soul, it's the only way it can talk to us is through what we're feeling and what we're getting. And that's anxiety. Because it's like we have that feeling like this is not where I'm supposed to be. And it's like your soul's calling you. Like, this isn't expanding you. This isn't aligned with you anymore. It could be a toxic situation. It definitely, to me, is with this Knight of Cups is relationship. This is a relationship. I just kind of feel like, I don't feel like this is, I said toxic, but I feel like it's toxic more in the sense of, sometimes we manifest, all relationships are a reflection or a mirror to help us become more aware of ourselves. And, some relationships come around for us to really become awakened to, oh, well, if this relationship is not, giving us what we would call positive, or isn't feeling right, or doesn't fill our needs, or whatever the dynamic is, It's for us to just become more aware of, okay, well, I see why I manifested this, or I see why or what this relationship is mirroring back to me. And now I choose, you know, to walk away from this and to open myself up and change myself so that I can align with a relationship that's more, again, in alignment with who I am now. And a lot of times we choose these relationships and we stay in these relationships, for one, because that's like not loving to the self. If we stay in relationships which it's not serving us, I mean, we are self-abandoning ourselves. We are self-betraying ourselves to stay in a situation out of fear. But this situation, I kind of feel like it's more, there's just a difference of compatibility. There's a difference of, I feel like you kind of bring the worst out in each other. And both of you are choosing behaviors and patterns that are not healthy for yourself, but also aren't healthy for each other. And I just feel like it's this like back and forth ping pong. But I just feel like that's what this relationship was for to help you see. But I don't think this is a relationship that's ever going to, you're not going to, it's not something that's going to like, all of a sudden, it's going to turn into this, you know, divine, you're both awakened. I feel like this relationship was more to just kind of, again, a lesson, a learning, and it's making sure that we do learn this. I do feel like twofold, the Page of Wands to me, that could be about childhood too. So I do feel like there's a trauma bond here of reflection for each other, of like seeing each other as these children. And in some sense, you're like trying to get what you didn't get as a child from this other. But it's like you can't, that needs to be healed within yourself. And that's creating a lot of confusion and blockages around childhood stuff. But also, I do feel like this is saying as well, there needs to be some new ideas around opening up to like seeing your belief system, seeing how can I change, things like that. Let's get one for this Knight of Cups. The World. Yeah, an ending, a new beginning here in a relationship. I do feel like it's coming to divine timing here. What's the decision? The Lover's Two of Wands about? The Page of Pentacles. I feel like you're trying to decide what's the best value for you. Like, what's a value for you as far as like what you're going to do next, or some decision you're going to make. There is a lesson here, though. There definitely is a lesson. The Tower, Eight of Swords, and the Emperor. Yeah, this is about getting unstuck. But also, there's definitely someone here. This could be you or someone else, but there's a lot of behaviors. There's a lot of like lack of awareness about the self here with the bondage and the blindfold here. And this kind of comes outward in behaviors that are very stubborn, controlling behaviors. This is hardcore. Very masculine, wanting to control, wanting to like, you know, lead here and make the decisions. But this creates this is about being stuck in the mind and not being able to see the self and really see the reflection of like, oh, I see how I show up in the world, or I see how I respond to people, or just, you know, respond to life. Because this is a very fear-based way of living. And that is getting blown up here. And then the Nine of Swords. So this is the Knight of Swords in reverse. So this is a lot of repressed anger. And to me, when it's upside down. This could lead to like almost, this is going really, this is withheld anger, which almost leads to rage here, because that's the angry knight. But again, to me, reverse can lead to really, there's a lot of mental stuff going on here, mental conflict, and it's almost like you're trying to hold back this anger and rage. But I feel like you have to find healthy ways of expressing this and working through what are those things that you're holding on to still that like you feel a lot of anger about. I also feel like you're just holding back from life. You're holding back from change. I feel like life wants you to, again, life is about constant flow and change. And we have to surrender and allow ourselves to flow with life. Because the one thing we can count on, which is the universal truth, is constant change, growth, expansion. And it's when we restrict that, when we try to hold back, we build up all this energy. And I feel like as well, you're trying to resist or stop some sort of forward movement here. Someone is. And then just one more. What's some ultimate overall advice here? There's the wheel. So again, we just have to surrender and let it go. We need to allow things to move, to change. 3 of Wands. This is about expanding. Like, life wants you to expand out in some area of your life. And I feel like you've been holding back. But I do like the 2 of Wands and the 3 of Wands here, because that really is about putting out what you want. And then, like I said, following the synchronicities, following your excitement, following your passion, because those are the footpath from the universe leading you to then the how. How do I do this? How do I expand out? All right. Interesting. Aries here. So definitely there's going to be some sort of tower moment this month, but I think it has to happen. It's almost like this balloon that just, you keep filling and filling and filling, and it's to the point it's like you can't contain this anymore. It's got to pop. But it's going to be a relief, and it's going to start bringing some clarity, because I do feel also this has created a lot of confusion. There's a lot of anxiety and worry going on here, a lot of in the mind. So, all right, Aries, listen to the messages coming in this month. Listen to your intuition as well. But thanks for joining in, and I will see you in the next reading.